Listen, there comes a time when the people who give the most, who protect the most, who carry everyone else's weight, finally wake up, and when that happens, everything changes, because for too long, the people with the biggest hearts have been the punching bags of this world. They put themselves last, they sacrifice, they excuse bad behavior, and they swallow pain just so others can shine. But here's the truth, that's weakness disguised as kindness. You can't keep pouring into everyone else's cup while your own runs dry. You can't keep defending people who wouldn't even show up for you on your darkest day. And you sure as hell can't keep protecting the ones who drain you. There comes a moment when you stop saying yes to everyone else and finally say yes to yourself. That moment, that's when you flip the switch. See, when protectors stop protecting everyone else at their own expense, they become dangerous in the best way. They reclaim their time, they reclaim their energy, they reclaim their self-respect, and suddenly the world sees a version of them it never expected: strong, sharp, untouchable. Don't get it twisted. This doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you stop being used. It means you raise your standards. It means you recognize that protecting yourself is the ultimate power move. Because when you're strong, you can build, you can lead, you can actually make an impact. But if you keep letting people bleed you dry, you'll never reach that point. So here's the final warning. When the ones with the biggest hearts stop being everyone's shield, they stop being controlled. They stop being manipulated. They stop being silent. And when that happens, they become unstoppable. Protectors often sacrifice themselves while defending others, but this drains their strength and value. They are the people who carry the weight of everyone's problems on their shoulders. They are the ones who say yes when deep down they want to say no. They are the ones who put out fires for others while quietly burning inside themselves. And the world applauds them for it. The world says, look at how strong they are. Look at how much they care. Look at how reliable they are. But what the world doesn't see is the cost, the sleepless nights, the heavy chest that never gets lighter, the energy that gets poured out until there's nothing left. The protector becomes an empty shell, still fighting for others, while no one fights for them. And here's the harsh reality. When you're always the one saving others, people get comfortable watching you drown. They get used to you giving. They get used to you saying yes. They get used to you sacrificing. And they forget you're human. They forget you have needs. They forget you have limits. That's the danger of always protecting others. You disappear in the process. You become invisible. But the truth is, that role doesn't make you noble. It makes you weak, not weak in your heart, not weak in your compassion, weak because you allowed your strength to be used against you, weak because you gave and gave and gave until there was nothing left for yourself. That is not real strength. Real strength is knowing when to step back. Real strength is knowing when to say no. Real strength is protecting your own energy so that you can grow, so that you can rise, so that you can actually lead. Because if you're always protecting others, who is protecting you? Who's making sure you don't collapse under the weight you've been carrying for years? No one. And that's the shift that has to happen. There comes a moment when the protector wakes up, when they realize that putting themselves last is not noble, it's self-destruction, when they realize that giving everything to everyone else leaves them with nothing. And when that moment comes, everything changes. They stop being the shield for people who don't deserve it. They stop defending those who drain them. They stop covering for those who never had their back. And they finally learn the most powerful lesson of all. Protecting yourself is the ultimate power move. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you stop loving. It doesn't mean you stop helping. It means you stop bleeding for people who wouldn't even hand you a bandage. It means you stop defending people who would leave you exposed. It means you stop sacrificing yourself for people who would never sacrifice for you. That's when the protector evolves. That's when the protector becomes unstoppable, because now their energy is their own. Their time is their own, their heart is guarded, not wasted, and when that happens, they become sharper. They become clearer, they become stronger, people start to notice, they say, "You've changed," but the truth is you didn't change, you finally remembered who you are, you finally remembered that your life matters too. You finally remembered that your worth is not measured by how much you can endure, but by how much you can create, how much you can grow, how much you can lead. Protectors who keep protecting others at their own expense burn out, fade away, and disappear. Protectors who finally protect themselves ignite. They rise, they dominate, because now they're no longer running on empty. Now they're no longer wasting their strength on the wrong people. Now they're no longer bleeding for the ungrateful. They stand tall, they set boundaries, they raise their standards, and the world has no choice but to adjust. When you protect yourself first, you don't stop being kind, you don't stop being compassionate, you don't stop being generous, but now your kindness has edges, your compassion has limits, your generosity has boundaries, and that's the difference between weakness and strength. That's the line between being used and being respected. That's the power shift that changes everything. Because when protectors stop sacrificing themselves and start protecting themselves, they stop being victims, they stop being invisible, they stop being drained, and they finally become what they were always meant to be: powerful, unshakable, unstoppable. Kindness without boundaries becomes weakness. Self-respect comes from saying no when necessary. There is nothing wrong with being kind. There is nothing wrong with having a good heart. There is nothing wrong with wanting to help, to support, to give, and to make the lives of others easier. But here's the truth. Kindness without boundaries is not kindness. It is a slow form of self-destruction, because when you give without limits, people stop seeing your kindness as generosity. They start seeing it as your obligation. They stop appreciating what you do. They start expecting it, and eventually they stop respecting you. That's when kindness becomes weakness, not because kindness itself is weak, but because when you never say no, when you never draw the line, when you allow people to take and take and take, you teach them that your energy, your time, your soul is theirs to consume. And if you're not careful, they'll consume it until there's nothing left of you. This is where self-respect has to come in. Self-respect is not about arrogance. It is not about selfishness. It is about knowing that your time, your energy, and your peace matter. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is one word: no. No, I can't do that for you right now. No, I will not allow you to disrespect me. No, I will not let you cross that line again. No, I will not sacrifice my own well-being so you can be comfortable. Every time you say no, you reinforce your worth. Every time you say no, you remind yourself that your life has value. Every time you say no, you build the foundation of real respect, both from yourself and from others, because people do not respect endless yes. They respect boundaries, they respect clarity, they respect someone who knows their limits and is not afraid to enforce them. Think about it. What happens when you always say yes? You become predictable. You become easy to use. You become the person people call, not because they respect you, but because they know you won't refuse. They know you'll drop everything for them. They know you'll rearrange your life for their convenience. And they know you'll do it quietly without asking for anything in return. That's not kindness, that's being exploited. And the longer you allow it, the more it becomes the story of your life. But the moment you begin to say no, the script changes. At first, people will be shocked. They'll push back. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you're selfish. They'll say you're cold. But what they're really saying is this: they can no longer control you. They can no longer manipulate your kindness. They can no longer drain you at will. And that is where your real strength begins. Because the truth is, you cannot serve others from an empty cup. You cannot give endlessly without eventually breaking. And if you break, you help no one, not yourself, not the people who truly love you, and not the world that actually needs your best. Kindness without boundaries depletes you. Kindness with boundaries empowers you. It sharpens you. It makes your yes more meaningful, because when you do give, it comes from a place of strength, not exhaustion. It makes your time more valuable because you choose who gets it and who doesn't. It makes your relationships healthier because the people who stay in your life are the ones who respect your limits, not the ones who exploit them. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates. They allow love, respect, and real connection in, and they keep toxicity, manipulation, and disrespect out. That's why saying no is not the opposite of kindness. It is the foundation of it, because real kindness requires strength, and strength requires self-respect. Without it, kindness collapses into weakness. With it, kindness becomes unshakable. So if you want your kindness to matter, if you want it to last, if you want it to carry weight, learn to say no, learn to protect your energy, learn to draw the line. Because when you do, your kindness will no longer be a tool for others to use. It will be a force that uplifts the right people, fuels your own growth, and commands the respect you deserve. And that's the difference between living drained and living powerful. That's the difference between being used and being respected. That's the difference between weakness and strength. Protecting yourself first is essential. It empowers you to truly make an impact. You can't build anything meaningful if you're broken inside. You can't pour into others when your own cup is empty. You can't lift the world if you're constantly collapsing under your own weight. This is the mistake so many people make. They think self-sacrifice equals greatness. They think putting everyone else ahead of themselves makes them noble. They think destroying their own peace just to keep others comfortable makes them strong. But in reality, it makes them powerless. Because when you ignore your own needs, you weaken your foundation. When you weaken your foundation, everything you try to build eventually falls apart. Protecting yourself is not selfish. Protecting yourself is survival. Protecting yourself is the only way to actually serve, to lead, and to make a lasting difference. Think about it. If your body breaks down, you can't help anyone. If your mind is clouded, you can't lead anyone. If your spirit is drained, you can't inspire anyone. That's why protecting yourself first is not optional. It's essential. It means knowing when to say no. It means knowing when to step back. It means guarding your energy the same way you'd guard your home, your family, your dreams. Because your energy is your fuel, and without fuel, nothing moves forward. People love to talk about changing the world, building something great, leaving a legacy. But you can't change the world if you can't even take care of yourself. You can't build greatness on burnout. You can't leave a legacy if you're constantly running on empty. The truth is, the stronger you are, the greater your impact will be. The healthier you are, the better you can show up. The more balanced you are, the more powerful your contribution becomes. Protecting yourself first allows you to rise higher, and when you rise higher, you can lift others with you. When you're strong, you can give from overflow instead of depletion. When you're sharp, you can lead with clarity instead of confusion. When you're at peace, you can inspire others instead of dragging them into your chaos. That's the difference. It's not about choosing yourself asterisk over asterisk others. It's about choosing yourself asterisk first asterisk so you can show up for others in the best possible way. A weak protector saves no one. A doubt leader guides no one. A drained giver uplifts no one. But a strong, clear, self-protected person, they change everything because their impact isn't temporary. It's lasting, it's real, it carries weight, and it inspires others to do the same. Protecting yourself first also means respecting your limits. It means knowing when you've given enough for the day. It means refusing to let people cross lines that damage your peace. It means recognizing that your time, your health, and your soul are non-negotiable. And when you enforce those boundaries, people take notice. At first, they might not like it. At first, they might push back. but eventually they respect it, because boundaries create respect. Boundaries protect your worth. Boundaries teach others how to treat you, and that respect is what allows you to operate from a position of strength, not desperation. That strength is what empowers you to actually make an impact. Impact doesn't come from breaking yourself down. Impact comes from building yourself up, protecting what matters, and operating at your highest level. Protecting yourself is also about protecting your vision. It's about saying no to distractions. It's about cutting off toxic voices. It's about refusing to let negativity invade your space. Because every moment you spend defending yourself from chaos is a moment stolen from building your future. But when you protect your vision, when you protect your energy, when you protect your purpose, you move faster, you think clearer, and you build stronger, and that's how impact is made. Protecting yourself means making tough choices. It means not showing up to every fight you're invited to. It means not answering every demand placed on you. It means being ruthless about what you allow into your mind and your life. And that's not weakness, that's power. Because the world is full of noise, full of distractions, full of people who will drain you if you let them. Your job is to protect yourself so well that none of that pulls you off course. Because the mission is bigger than pleasing people. The mission is bigger than avoiding conflict. The mission is bigger than being liked. The mission is impact, and impact requires strength. Strength requires protection, and protection begins with you. When you protect yourself first, you create the foundation for everything else. Your health, your peace, your vision, your energy, those are the pillars of your impact. Guard them with everything you have. Because when you're protected, you're unstoppable. And when you're unstoppable, your impact shakes the world. The moment you stop overgiving, you reclaim your energy, time, and power. For too long, people convince themselves that giving endlessly is a sign of strength. They believe that saying yes to everyone makes them valuable. They believe that sacrificing their own needs proves their worth. But the truth is, overgiving is not strength. It is surrender. It is giving away the very pieces of yourself that you need in order to grow, to lead, to live fully. Overgiving is a silent trap. It feels noble at first. It feels like love. It feels like loyalty. But slowly, it drains you. Slowly, it steals your energy. Slowly, it eats away at your time. And slowly, it robs you of your power. Because when you give too much, people stop seeing it as generosity. They start seeing it as your duty. They stop appreciating it. They start expecting it. And eventually, they stop respecting you. You become the one they call when they need something. You become the one they lean on, not because they value you, but because they know you won't refuse. And that's the danger. You lose yourself in the process of trying to keep everyone else afloat. But the moment you stop overgiving, everything changes. The moment you pause and say, "No, I need this time for myself," the moment you choose rest over constant sacrifice, the moment you protect your peace instead of letting it be shattered for someone else's convenience. That moment is when you reclaim your life. You reclaim your energy, the energy that was once wasted on people who took you for granted, the energy that was once poured into places that never gave back, the energy that should have been fueling your own dreams, your own growth, your own strength. You reclaim your time, the time that was stolen by endless obligations, the time that was wasted on people who only showed up when they needed something, the time that could have been invested into building your vision, creating your future, and becoming the person you were meant to be. And most importantly, you reclaim your power, the power to decide where your energy goes, the power to choose who gets your time and who doesn't. The power to direct your life instead of being directed by everyone else's demands. This is the transformation that happens when you stop overgiving. You stop being drained. You stop being manipulated. You stop being invisible, and you start being intentional. You start focusing on what matters. You start protecting what's yours. You start building instead of constantly repairing. People will notice the shift. At first, they won't like it. They'll say you've changed. They'll call you selfish. They'll accuse you of being cold. But the truth is, they're just upset that they can no longer use you. They're just upset that the endless supply of your time, your energy, your attention is no longer theirs to drain. And that's when you know you're on the right path, because you weren't put here to bleed yourself dry for people who don't even notice your scars. You weren't put here to live exhausted, resentful, and unseen. You weren't put here to spend your life carrying burdens that aren't yours to carry. You were put here to grow, to build, to lead, to make an impact. And you can't do any of that if you're constantly running on empty. The moment you stop overgiving, you start thriving. You start feeling lighter. You start thinking clearer. You start seeing opportunities you couldn't see before because you were too tired, too drained, too consumed by other people's demands. You begin to attract better people into your life. People who respect your boundaries, people who give as much as they take. People who value your time and your energy because they know you value it too. And this is where your true power lies, not in endless sacrifice, not in constant yes, not in being everything for everyone. Your true power lies in your ability to protect what's yours. Your true power lies in your ability to say no when it matters. Your true power lives in your ability to give from a place of strength, not exhaustion. And when you do that, your giving becomes real again. Your yes carries weight. Your love carries depth. Your presence carries impact. Because it's no longer forced. It's no longer manipulated. It's no longer draining. It's intentional. It's powerful. It's meaningful. The moment you stop overgiving, you take your life back. You stop existing for others, and you start living for yourself and the mission you were born to fulfill. And when you live from that place, you don't just survive. You lead, you inspire, and you rise. Raising standards changes everything. It filters out manipulation and creates stronger relationships. The truth is, your life is a direct reflection of what you allow and what you tolerate. If you allow disrespect, you'll receive disrespect. If you tolerate manipulation, you'll be surrounded by manipulators. If you settle for less, you'll keep getting less. But the moment you raise your standards, the entire game shifts. Because standards are not just rules, they are filters. They separate the people who value you from the people who only want to use you. They separate the ones who come with honesty from the ones who come with games. They separate the relationships that will grow with you from the ones that will drain you. Without standards, you become a target. You become easy to manipulate. You become easy to control. Because people know you'll bend, they know you'll break. They know you'll give in even when it costs you your peace. But with standards, you draw the line. You tell the world, this is what I accept. This is what I don't. Cross it, and you're out. That clarity changes everything. It makes people think twice before they try to manipulate you. It makes people show up with respect because they know anything less won't fly. It makes people value your presence because they know it's not guaranteed. It has to be earned. Raising standards doesn't just protect you. It empowers you. It gives you the freedom to stop wasting time on shallow connections. It gives you the courage to walk away from people who play games. It gives you the strength to stop explaining, stop defending, and simply enforce. And here's the thing, when you raise your standards, you don't lose people who truly matter. You lose the ones who were never real to begin with, the manipulators, the users, the pretenders, the ones who were only there because you made it easy for them to stay. And when they're gone, something powerful happens. Your circle gets smaller, but it gets stronger. Your relationships get fewer, but they get deeper. The people who remain are the ones who value you, respect you, and grow with you. Because raising standards doesn't push away the right people. It attracts them. The right people aren't afraid of your boundaries. They aren't intimidated by your expectations. They aren't scared of the word no. In fact, they respect it. They thrive in it because real love, real friendship, real connection is built on respect, not manipulation. When you raise your standards, you teach others how to treat you, and you also teach yourself how to treat yourself. Because every time you enforce a boundary, you reinforce your own worth. Every time you demand respect, you strengthen your own self-respect. Every time you walk away from something beneath your standards, you step closer to the life you deserve. This is why raising standards is not about arrogance. It's about clarity. It's about refusing to negotiate with disrespect. It's about refusing to water yourself down just to keep someone else comfortable. It's about refusing to live small just so others don't feel insecure. Raising standards means you no longer settle for halfway love. You no longer settle for conditional respect. You no longer settle for relationships that drain you more than they build you. You no longer settle for being the only one who gives while others only take. And yes, it will make some people uncomfortable. Yes, it will make some people leave. Yes, it will make some people call you difficult. But the truth is, you don't need those people. You never did. Because anyone who's scared of your standards was never planning to meet them. And anyone who refuses to meet them doesn't deserve access to you. That's the reality. Strong standards filter out weak connections. Strong standards remove manipulation before it even starts. Strong standards force people to either rise up or step aside. And that's exactly how you build stronger relationships. Because the ones who stay will not be there out of convenience. They will be there out of commitment. They won't be there because they can use you. They'll be there because they value you. They won't be there because you made it easy. They'll be there because they're willing to grow with you. That's the kind of connection that lasts. That's the kind of respect that endures. That's the kind of relationship that makes you better, stronger, sharper. But it all starts with a decision to stop lowering your standards just to keep people close. A decision to stop apologizing for expecting respect. A decision to stop trading your peace for shallow approval. The moment you raise your standards, you stop being manipulated. The moment you raise your standards, you stop being drained. The moment you raise your standards, you stop being invisible. And you finally step into a life where every relationship is rooted in respect, strength, and truth. That's the power of raising standards. It doesn't just change your relationships, it changes your entire life. When protectors finally stop being shields for others, they become unstoppable forces. For years, they have carried everyone else's battles. They've stood in the line of fire, taking blows that weren't meant for them. They've absorbed pain, cleaned up messes, and covered for people who never once thought to do the same in return. Protectors are the silent warriors, the ones who keep giving, keep defending, keep sacrificing. While the world applauds their strength but never sees the cost, and that cost is heavy. Because when you are always the shield, you forget what it means to live for yourself. You forget what it means to breathe without carrying someone else's burden. You forget what it feels like to stand tall without bending under someone else's weight. Being the shield drains you, weakens you, and over time it erases you. But one day the protector wakes up. One day the endless giving stops. One day they finally realize that protecting everyone else while neglecting themselves is not noble, it's self-destruction. That's the moment everything changes. Because when protectors stop being shields, they no longer just survive, they rise. They stop being the background strength that others quietly consume. They stop being the silent support system that no one appreciates. They stop being the invisible wall people hide behind when it's convenient. Instead, they step into the open. They reclaim their energy, they reclaim their time, they reclaim their voice, and with that, they reclaim their power. This shift is explosive because the very qualities that made them strong protectors, their resilience, their loyalty, their ability to endure, now become weapons of creation instead of survival. Instead of shielding others from battles that aren't theirs, they start fighting their own battles with unmatched strength. Instead of defending those who drain them, they start building their own future with relentless focus. Instead of standing in the shadows, they step into the light, and once they do, there is no going back, because now they know their worth, now they know their power, now they know what happens when their strength is no longer wasted on those who don't deserve it. They become unstoppable, unstoppable in their vision, unstoppable in their growth, unstoppable in their impact. People notice the change. The same people who used to rely on their protection suddenly panic. Because the shield is gone, the free safety net is gone, the silent defender is gone, and those who took advantage are left exposed. But the protector doesn't care anymore, because now they are no longer living to protect everyone else. They are living to protect themselves, their dreams, their purpose, and that shift makes them powerful beyond measure. See, being a shield limits you. It keeps you small, it keeps you tired, it keeps you reactive instead of proactive. But when you stop being the shield, you stop living defensively, you stop waiting for attacks, you stop managing chaos that isn't yours to fix. Instead, you go on offense, you build, you grow, you rise. You pursue what matters without apology, and the world can't stop you. Because when a protector finally redirects their strength inward, they become a force like no other. A protector who has stopped shielding others doesn't just protect, they conquer. They conquer their fears, they conquer their doubts, they conquer the very limitations they once accepted as part of their role. And with every step forward, they grow stronger, sharper, more untouchable. They become leaders instead of lifelines. They become creators instead of caretakers. They become examples of what happens when compassion meets power, when loyalty meets self-respect, when strength is no longer wasted but directed. This is why protectors who stop being shields are unstoppable, because they know pain, they know sacrifice, they know endurance, but now they channel those lessons into themselves. They no longer just survive, they dominate. They no longer just carry others, they carry their mission, their vision, their purpose, and nothing can stand in their way. So when protectors finally drop the shield, when they finally refuse to be used, when they finally protect themselves first, they transform into something the world cannot ignore. They become a storm. They become a movement. They become unstoppable forces. So understand this. Your life is not meant to be lived as someone else's shield. Your strength is not meant to be drained for people who refuse to stand on their own. Your power is not meant to be wasted on battles that are not yours to fight. It's meant for something greater. It's meant to build, to rise, to lead, to leave a mark. And the moment you decide to protect yourself first, the moment you stop living as a shield and start living as a force, nothing and no one will ever be able to stop you. That is the moment you finally become unstoppable.